Hello there, Internet, and welcome back to AIMBOT, a Mind Morally Bankrupt or Them. Here at the Reading Room, I am Mark Reed. I will be morally judging people with you today, and this will be consensual and solicited moral judgment. So there is no unsolicited, not consensual solicited moral judgment. It's always solicited. And how are you doing today? It's so good to see you. I've had a very, very restful Christmas. I kind of did nothing. Yeah, kind of did nothing and ate a lot, which was exactly what I was after for a Christmas. I hope you've had a really happy one. We're leading up to New Year's. Today is New Year's Eve, I believe. Yeah, here it's New Year's Eve. It may differ for you, but it's definitely New Year's Eve for me. So it's going to be interesting seeing what pops up. Christmas was great for me. I hope it was good for you too. I was part of Purple's Christmas stream, which was always fantastic. A lot of amazing people on there. I thought it went really well. I thought it was a fantastic stream, which honestly I didn't catch enough of, to be honest with you. It was sort of I did what I could. I did what I could. Absolutely did what I could. But we are back, and going into the new year, we will have some new stuff. But I'll talk about that on the members stream about what I've got coming up. I'm just going to pop that in here, and I think I've got the wrong number on my. Yeah, I sure do. This should be 63. Wow, it's over 60 of these things. That's crazy. What have I been doing? What's happened? What's happened? What's going on? Like, seriously. Anyway, I don't really have anything to chat about. Just I've been more ignoring the absolute stupidity over in the US that is going on at the moment. I sort of had took a break from everything over the Christmas. Well, when I say I took a break, I didn't really. I still did the Christmas stream. I still did most streams, but it was just sort of, yeah, I kind of didn't really catch up on the news. I didn't really follow anything. Last I heard, they wanted to close down the Hoover building or something, like close down the main FBI building that sort of investigates everything, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Hold it, I've got a light here. Hey, there we go. That's a lot better. I did get a new ring light for Christmas. All right, I will draw back the curtain a little. I did get a new ring light for Christmas, and yeah, it works very well. So I'm very happy at that. Boaster is completely right. I'm gonna just drop straight into aimbot. I suppose I can open up the room. That is something I can do. Something I can do. Invite guests. Copy invite link. Hey Jess, so good to see you. One by land and two by sea. Are you not upside down on your screen? Are you really in Australia? Yeah, they've got this amazing technology which flips it on the way over. I don't know how they do it. It flips upside down when it gets transferred to the northern hemisphere. This I believe it's called a interweb inverter, and it's this amazing technology which takes the Australian signal, flips it upside down, and then puts it on your screen. Insane. What a world we live in that such technology actually exists. It's incredible. It's incredible, right? Just the technology. Yeah, and give me 1 second. I just have to get organized here with a link to join everyone. Anyone's welcome. If you want to talk about stuff, you want to talk about aimbot, sure, and I will pin that because I can. Oh, and we've had a raid from Ember, I see, has popped up. So welcome all to the Embers. It's really good to see you all coming over. I do realize it's sort of holiday season, so hey, glad you can hang out with me. It's all very good. Technology is amazing. Yeah. And we've got by Stop the Stupidity, who has decided to gift 5 readerships. Thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate it. It's absolutely amazing. Really do appreciate it. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Hang on, I think I've got a few. Yeah, I think I've got this. Yay. Thank you so much. Where is my... they've changed around my thingamwhatsit here. I did have... oh, custom... Oh, okay. For some reason, it's completely taken off my sound effects. Okay, well, you can't get everything you want. But if I could just stop that, please. Thank you. Uh, um, so those go out to you realize you got me right at the start of the day. I look, I've had a really good rest. I haven't had to do any call outs for a while. It takes a little bit to get back into. That's how dare you, Aunt Jer? How please, no praying, but no, I haven't really like watched the news or anything. But hang on, let me just get a sip of coffee, and I will do this as I have to, because Stop the Stupidity for some reason loves me shouting out these things like an idiot. Apparently, hey, I do appreciate it though, mate. I really do. Okay, and those go out to Ashley loves Balaj. I don't know how to pronounce that. I entirely different gift voucher. I'm sorry. B-Trade 12003. BTF win. Carl J 95. My unfinished journey. Winners, chicken dinners. Enjoy your emotes and other benefits, including the member stream that I have not in fact set up yet, but will be happening tomorrow. Absolutely will be. Hey, Big Bad Mama. Good to see ya. Good to see you. Yeah, no, I've had a very, it means blue shark in Swedish. Oh, okay. A blue shark. Is that the blahage? That's cool. That's cool. All right. Okay. I can't pronounce it, but it's definitely become cooler than it was 2 seconds ago. Absolutely, blue shark. Right. Is that like the white shark? Great white shark. I think there was a golfer or something like that. Is completely wrong. And I'm just going to get set up here to do some aimbotting. Look, I can always aimbot. This will be slightly changing. I will talk about it more in the member stream, but I will definitely do some changes, and there's some stuff I want to do this year. But for the moment, I've just, I've just been sort of, taking a rest over Christmas. It's been awesome. It's been absolutely awesome. Oh, hey, Jess. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. So it is New Year in Australia. So if I just identify all of the Australians in the chat, I should be able to pinpoint exactly who deserves a Happy New Year before anybody else, because we're ahead of time. Greg Norman. Thank you, Big Bad Mummet. Greg Norman, yeah. Greg Norman. Look, okay, so I'll level with you. I got a Squishmallow for Christmas. I got a Squishmallow. Now, I wasn't aware of what Squishmallows were until Lynn told me about them. But my nephew, my delightful little nephew, and they are awesome. They're just awesome. Actually, they were using non-binary terms, so I'm not sure if they're still doing that. I'm just going to use non-binary for them. So my awesome my sister-in-law's offspring gave me a Squishmallow, and it is a armadillo, and they told me its name is Thompson. So I am now the proud owner of a armadillo Squishmallow by the name of Thompson. Okay, so things have developed in my life. I didn't know this thing existed 2 days ago, but, here we are. Squishmallows are apparently, a thing now. They're apparently a thing. I wasn't aware of them, but, here we go. Here we are. Squishmallows are a thing, apparently. I didn't get much else. As I said, I got a ring light. That's probably the pride of my Christmas. That's, what? IKEA. Oh, I'm pretty fan of IKEA. Oh, Blahaj. Okay, there you go. If you're wondering what I'm looking at, I've been sent a link. Look, go away. I don't want your cookies. So apparently, yeah, we've got a Blahaj. That is a blue shark. Hello, Robin. How you doing? Um, a blue shark. I'm not sure you should be teaching children that sharks are friends. I'm not 100% sure, but hey, why not? Why not? Maybe this will desensitize them if ever they come to Australia and actually have to deal with a real shark. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. Look, I was saying to somebody before, maybe this can be my rant. Like, Australia, your hair looks awesome, and thank you. I mean, I my flowing locks, right? Thanks, Robin. Thanks. Blowhigh. Is it like blowhole? Blowhigh. 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 It sounds like Saruman's army is going to be marching over the hills, right? It's the Orokai. It's the Blowhigh. Wow. Sharks are friends, not soup. Yeah, you're probably right, Ryan. You're probably right. No, I'm just saying, like, look, Australians, we're kind of, there's danger and then there's danger, right? Like, as an Australian, you're always aware there is a non-zero chance that you may be attacked by a shark. It's non-zero, right? Like, you're probably, you're probably more in danger walking across the road from the beach to home kind of thing. Like, the traffic's going to get you, but there is a non-zero chance that a shark can get you. And I know this because the lifesavers carry tourniquet kits for a reason, and it's not in case there's some kind of shooting incident. No, it's for sharks, and we get taught in lifesaving how to deal with a shark injury, which is tourniquet the limb, try to stop the bleeding, and that's about all you can do. Like, shark wounds are terrible. Absolutely terrible. Well, what I do know, they can be very friendly. Yep, absolutely. And usually sharks do not attack humans by choice, right? Usually sharks will mistake humans for seal, which, they really do like seal, but, usually sharks are not really interested in attacking humans. They're not something that they really are after. It's that they see somebody in a wetsuit, they think they're a seal, which is fair enough. I mean, hey, I can see it. I can see it. Wetsuit seal, shark death here in California last week, right? And I think Californians have the same attitude. Big Bad Mama. They kind of go, yeah, it's a non-zero chance, but what's ever completely safe in your life? You can get hit by a car crossing the street. It can happen. So that it's no reason to change your lifestyle. It's just you have to accept that risk, and if you don't want that risk, totally fair. But it's just something you have to accept. And I think sort of Australians are very not ambivalent, but they're sort of very accepting of that kind of thing. That if you want, you can't go through your life with complete safety, but you can minimize risk, and that's fair enough. What kind of shark? You can definitely send me an article if you want. This is quickly turning into a rant, I got to admit. Was it a blowhigh? Was it a blowhigh? High? Was it a blowhigh? I don't know. Well, yeah, shark death. Yeah, it happens. A triathlete. Oh. They don't know, I don't think. Oh, that's full on. No, they found a okay. So apparently, and this has been drawn to my attention by Big Bad Mama. Apparently, it was like they didn't find they didn't see the shark. It was a triathlete apparently killed by a shark, but a witness driving by the area reported to authorities they saw a shark with what appeared to be a human body in its mouth emerge from the water. Holy crap! Imagine being the person calling that in. Yeah, well, I mean, a shark that big is probably a great white. It's probably a great white. She understood the risk of swimming in an ocean with a population of great white sharks. Yep. An animal's behavior is just that. Yeah, no, that's the attitude, you know, like they are an apex predator in the ocean. You know. And come visit Western Australia with glorious Shark Bay. No, look, Shark Bay in Australia is actually quite nice, right? It's quite a lovely place. There's very few sharks. It's actually mostly dolphins, but just saying. I'm not sure that our tourist industry needed to call it Shark Bay. It's a beautiful place, though. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's got really friendly dolphins, but it is called Shark Bay. Just saying. Just saying. I think that they saw the dolphins and thought they were sharks. Look, dolphins have been known to protect humans as well from sharks. It's awesome. Anyway, if no one's coming in, better sharks than box jellyfish. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Box jellyfish suck. Okay, they absolutely suck. That's why you'll find like lifesavers with vinegar as well. Yep, vinegar. I said it. Keep vinegar with you. Oh, I've seen a few documentaries on orca taking out sharks, and it's absolutely frightening. Absolutely frightening how tactical they are in doing it. Humboldt squid. Look. Okay, left-handed Jedi. Yes, absolutely. Humboldt squid are terrifying, but I think that most deep-sea animals are terrifying. Have you ever seen an anglerfish? That is absolutely horrific. You know, anglerfish, cuttlefish. Cuttlefish are absolutely terrifying. Terrifying what they do. Like all deep-sea creatures are terrifying. I think anglerfish. They have the weirdest like mating ritual that is just so bizarre. Like it's like they go up to the female, the male goes to the female, bites her, and then fuses to her body, becoming like a sac, like a organic sac for sperm, basically. Like anglerfish are frigging. It's wild. It's absolutely wild, right? It's absolutely wild. It is just horrible. Look, from a guy's point of view, wow. I've known some relationships like that though. I've known some things like that. Okay. Let's see. First aimbot off the rank. Let's go. Let's freaking go. It's almost a new year, people. It's almost 2026. What are we doing here? What are we doing? We're aimbotting. That's what we're doing. You gotta know. You gotta know. Hang on a second. Can I be in here? Yeah. Maybe I'll hide chat. I don't really feel like hiding chat. Humboldt squid though, I think they're very curious as well. Like they're very, very curious about stuff, but they swarm, I believe. Freaking terrifying. Deep sea nopes. Yep, absolutely. Okay, so 1 dozen names, indeed. Am I the asshole for blowing up on my sister because she keeps using her old charger, which now belongs to me after I bought her a new one? Okay, this is getting confusing. She keeps using her old charger, which now belongs to me after I... So you bought her a new charger, took her old charger, and she keeps using the old charger? Interesting. Interesting. Me, 24 female, my sister, 20 female, and my mum all have Android phones. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, real talk. You can hate me if you want. You can hate me if you want. I cannot stand Apple phones. I can't stand Apple anything, okay? Android is where it's at for me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that offends anybody out there, but Android, they like, I got my phone for less than my wife's, and it has better sound, better camera, better everything basically. And it, I constantly hear from it, well, I've got to use this because it's the, it's an Apple and you have to use the Apple stuff with it. And I'm like, wow, I can make phone calls through my Windows computer. There's no reason why there should not be compatibility between devices that are from separate, separate companies, right? But Apple are like, if you get started on that Apple train, they will lock you in. They will lock you in. They will strap you down. They will put the strap on, and they will force you to buy everything Apple, and it sucks. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. And I hate the fact that when you get an Apple product, you can't customize it. The amount that you can't customize or change, Apple, bleh. Half a year ago, I bought a new charger and we've been sharing 2 cables like we always do. Bought a new charger and we've been sharing 2 cables. 2 cables. What does that mean? I bought a new charger and we've been sharing 2 cables like we always do. We keep one charger downstairs. Oh, we've got two chargers. Okay. I thought there was a 1 charger with 2 cables. I'm like, that doesn't work. Do you have a splitter? What are you doing? No. Okay, so they've got 2 chargers. My sister keeps hers upstairs so that we have a charger on each floor. Okay, you're thinking way too much about this. You're thinking either that or you're using your phone way too much. Because seriously, it shouldn't be you need a charger within, a 10-meter radius at all times, or else you're gonna run out of charge. Okay, at that point, put down your fucking phone, quite frankly. Like, seriously, when you're off, like, if you don't have the time off your phone to charge it, you're on your phone too much. I'm sorry, I know it's radical, but if you are, wow, okay. However, my sister always gets annoyed when we use hers, even though she uses ours when she's not in her room. Okay, so you keep yours downstairs. Like, seriously, what? Even when we use hers, even though she uses ours when she's not in her room. Like, this is just, seriously, this is so small problems. Don't you have like a PowerPoint you can put the charger up there? But she wants hers in her room. Okay. The actual drama started last week on Thursday. After coming home from work, my sister started complaining and whining about how I had apparently broken her charger. The cable shows some use and the plastic sheath is minimally damaged. No wires sticking out. The charger still works completely fine. It's literally a tiny tear where you can see a bit of grey colour peeking through. Okay, just get some electrical tape and wrap that fucker up. Like, seriously, what are you doing? Like, hey, in Australia we have like a van that goes around places. Like, it's an electrical safety van, and they'll like fix up like split wires and stuff like that. But me, I would just put some electrical tape around that bastard and plug it back in. Seriously. Okay. My mother heard her admitted that she was the one that broke it. My sister ignored her and kept accusing me. What the hell? Is this a 20? This is a 20-year-old human. whose mother confesses, and you're still like going, no, you're trying to protect my sister, who is the villain in this story, no matter what happens. Wow, okay. The next morning, I traveled over 90 minutes to an electronics shop. That seems excessive. Bought her a new can't you like get chargers at the local gas station? Wow, okay. Bought her a new charger for 25 euros, around 30 US dollars, and left it on her bed in the evening after she accused me for a third time. I took the broken charger in exchange. I told her verbally that the broken charger would now simply belong to me since she got a brand new one and complained so much about her old destroyed one. That is fair. That is fair. That is fair. During the weekend, she kept taking the broken charger from my room and using it. Why? I don't understand that. Is she showing dominance or something? What's happening here? I explained to her once more that she should use her new one. Yeah. When she repeated it on Monday, I confronted her because I could not understand why she kept using the broken one, which she complained about so much. She claimed the old one still belongs to her. Well, no, absolutely not. If you're basically saying, hey, you broke it and you provide a replacement, you take this is how any kind of goods exchange works. When you go to the store and you say, hey, this is under warranty, they don't just give you a new one, they take the old one. Like, that's how warranties work. What? I don't. I explained to her once again that the broken one is now mine, and since everyone has their own charger, she should stop using it, as I did not touch her new one since I bought it. She ignored me. My mum told me not to make a big deal, and I could use hers if I needed to. I left the room before I could get even angrier. Today, my sister told my little brother to get her charger from my room so she can charge her notebook. This is when I exploded. I called her out asking why she kept using my broken charger when I got her a brand new one that is the exact same model. She told me to chill. She just forgot she had a new one. It was openly lying on her desk. Absolutely fed up with her, I yelled her to keep the broken one too, since she obviously needs to use two different chargers at the same time, and I'll buy myself a new one as well. My mother told me I'm in the wrong and I overreacted. No, I honestly think this kid is getting everything they want. Like, seriously, what the hell? 20-year-old, like, wow. Wow. So, at this point, I'd like to note that 25 euros is not a small sum to me, as I only received money from a small student loan. My sister earns way more than me, so seeing her not use the charger I bought for 25 bucks on top of having to buy myself a new one adds to my anger. Well, I don't think you should like be angry about it. So here's the thing. If she doesn't like, if you basically came with a charger and said, hey, I will swap my one for the broken one, I think sort of getting people to accept things is way better. But I don't think I think her sister's being an absolute jerk. Like, seriously. Look, at this point you say, okay, well, I'm going to take back the new charger because that was mine. I bought it with my money. I have the receipts. And you can swap it for the old one, or you can just keep the old one, because let's not forget, she didn't break it. The mother did. She did not break it. So, before I think instead of telling her this is what you're doing, you should say, hey, do you want to swap this new one for that old broken one? And that belongs to me. But yeah, I mean, seriously, it's the hypocrisy of it, because she's basically going, no, don't go into my room to get my charger, but all of your chargers just can be used by me. No, that isn't reciprocity. That is just somebody, getting their own way in all instances. That's absolutely terrible. I'm sorry, that's terrible in my opinion. Anyway, I'll get the poll up. I'll get my poll going. Everyone loves a poll. Admit it. Was the poster right for getting angry at sister? look, I can understand why she's angry. I think sort of you really wanna basically say, instead of going, "Hey, I'm swapping this charger for your one, which is broken," you want to say, "Hey, do you want to swap this charger for the broken one? And if not, keep using your charger. Like, just use the new one." Seriously. And if she agrees, then she's accepted that that old one is then your charger. You've got a lot better leg to stand on if you include them and sort of have them as, an option, an agreement, because the problem is that you haven't gotten her agreement on this. I think that I don't get me wrong. I don't think she's done anything wrong. I think that she's been in the right or the whole time. I think her sister's being an absolute dick. But it's easier to make these arguments when somebody has agreed with it, and you haven't just told them what you want to happen. I think getting them to agree to it is the way to go. Yeah. Everyone knows. Sure, go ahead. Key South says, "Not the arsehole. Take the new one back and keep it for yourself." Yeah, exactly. Honestly, it's not like she agreed to the exchange you had in mind. Right. If she didn't agree to it, take the old one back and say, "I paid for it." Not the arsehole. Take the new one and leave it with the old one if she likes it that much. Right. And can I just note as well that she's doing this to keep the peace, because she, like the poster, did not in fact break the charger. It was the mother. And she is doing this to try and keep peace. Look, the mother saying, "Hey, keep the peace," kind of, yeah, well, one person is doing that. One person is compromising. The other person isn't. At that point, you're like, well, if you want to keep the peace, get them to meet me halfway. Wow. Jesus, just take a new one and be done with it. Stop sharing. Yeah. Everyone sucks here. Grown-ass children. Well, yeah. No, I get you. I understand why you're saying that, but at the same time, I think that one of those children is being more mature than the other. And I think the post is being a lot more, like, mature. Do you all not get a charging cable with each device? Are you guys mismanaging your cables so badly that you only have 3 charging cables in the entire... Oh, look, you miss some, you move, you lose some. Don't get like that, Pirate Pixie. Don't get like that. Not the asshole. You bought the new one. Take that. It's yours. If she likes the old broken, yeah, and that's your mother needs to step in and be a mother. Well, I mean, they're old enough to be able to sort it out between themselves. But at a certain point, you've got to go, well, this is the way things are. This is the thing that I bought. If you have a problem with it, it's not my problem. If you want to discuss it with me like an adult, that's another story. Right? Like, it's at 20 and what, 23 was it? 22, 23? You would expect them to be able to sort it out between themselves. How old? 24. Yeah. So if you want to go, "Hey, I bought this. If you don't want to use it, I will use it. You can have the old broken one. That's fine. Solve the problem. Each you buy a charger for yourself. Buy an extra for the kitchen, extra for the living room. This is the stupidest thing to argue about." Damn. It's pretty stupid to argue about, yeah. Yeah. I don't know people that need chargers this much. Like, seriously. Yeah. It sounds like your sister is a drama queen that gets off on drama. The fact your mum admitted that she was still using it and still has blamed you shows what kind of an ass she is. She kind of is an ass. It sounds like she's just doing it to be mean, and your mum either doesn't want to confront, she's starting with sister. Yeah, I mean, is this showing dominance? I don't know what this is. Is this showing dominance? I don't know. I personally would get to the point first. You would not have paid to replace it since you didn't break it, right? And 2, you wouldn't have taken the new one back and insist on using the old one. Yes. I would probably take a pair of wire clippers and cut it. That's a bit extreme. Like, I probably wouldn't do that. That's just wrecking a perfectly good charger. Why would you do that? That's stupid. All right, I did dislike your post now. No reputation. I dislike your post. Don't just break stuff to spite people. If you're going to blame me for it, then mine would do as well do it, but that is me. Yeah, no, that is you. I wouldn't. But I would only resort to that after getting tired of listening to her whine. Okay. Oh, left-handed Jedi for $5 for the super chat. For the record, kids these days will never know the horror of dial-up and that sound. God, that sound. Yeah, no, I know that sound. And I know the pain of having to wait half an hour to download like one thing from the internet. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we've come a long, long way. Hey, when I started like using a computer, it was a Commodore 64, and you had to push play on a cassette tape to play games. I mean, it was rude and obnoxious. Look, dial up would have been heaven. Those days of dial up. Oh boy. Oh boy. And I might add, you could not use the phone line when you were using dial-up because it used the audible sounds of the phone line to transmit data. So like, left-handed Jedi will know this because old people. If you picked up the phone while someone was using the dial-up, all you'd get is electronic static. And you're like, oh damn it, someone's on the computer. Okay. I gotcha. I'm going back now. Humboldt Squid, yep. 12 hours, 2025. I hope you've had a great year, Jess. I hope you've had a great year, great Christmas, and Happy New Year. Jess also says, I always buy a surplus of chargers, USB cables, aux cables, etc., in order to avoid these kinds of situations. Well, they're not that expensive, and you can just grab them from anywhere. Like, I don't see the problem. I don't like Apple either, but love apples. Me too. Look, there's an apple in Australia called a Pink Lady, and they are the best apples out there. I will die on that hill. My safe word is, oh, are we talking about phones or something else? Okay. Jess says, I've never owned an Apple product, but grew up in a Microsoft family. I only ever buy and use Microsoft products. I respect. Look, Microsoft I grew up with. I've been using Microsoft for a long time just because, look, when you go into the workforce, Windows is pretty standard workplace GUI, basically. Or graphical user interface, if you do want the sort of acronym to make sense. So, Windows is you're going to have to use it. Some businesses use Apple and for graphics. Like, come on now, for business applications and corporate applications, Windows is really where it's at. Ever since I got sort of more proficient with Unix and Linux systems, they are fantastic, better than Microsoft. But look, Microsoft is what's used. That is the standard. So yeah. I remember Windows 3. Look, Windows 3.11 was the most stable system ever. It was so stable you could count on it. It was amazingly stable. Aunt just says the cable has to be in like new condition at all times. Yeah, no, that does not happen in practice. Which is why that there's a van that drives around. I can't remember the name of it. It's like a power van or something. Drives around and fixes cables in Perth. Yeah. It's like a government thing. They just drive it around and like just do basic fixes on stuff. I don't know if it's still a thing. May not be. Electrical tape is the best. I use it for ton of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Electrical tape is fantastic. Fantastic stuff. It's just insulated tape. That's all it is. Yeah. Deviant says, I hate. Sorry, I didn't express that. I heard that I have an Apple phone. It was gifted to me when I really needed a new one. I couldn't choose any other phone. Now listen to this. The charger isn't included in the buy. It was sold separately for 50 USD, which didn't include the adapter, so it had to be bought for an extra 30 USD. So to be able to use the fucking phone, I had to pay an extra $80+. Yeah, and this is the Apple business model that really gets me, because Apple used to be this like pay less, get more, and now it's like get less, pay more, because they'll basically take functionality away from the models they provide and then charge you extra for having it. It's Deviant can confirm. Yeah, so I can understand why you're very, very angry about that. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so Apple have carved out a niche, in my opinion, of being straight out of the box, very easy to use, very sort of modular with their own devices, so they easily connect to their own devices. They make it very easy to use. Definitely Android is harder to use than Apple, and has more settings based stuff and more stuff that you might have to be knowledgeable about to use, but it's 5 million times better in my opinion. I think that Apple really caters to people who don't want to learn about their device, which, hey, look, people that don't want to learn about their device, that's fine. I totally get it. I'm not like throwing shade at that at all. If you're a person, you don't want to have to learn how to use, electronics and stuff, you just want to use the damn thing, Apple might be a solution for you. Fair enough. But I think Apple take advantage of that. I think they really do. Ryan says, round here, the screen repair place has box on box of chargers, cords, and connectors. They're happy to offload. Yeah, and I mean, I've like given away a charger before, just to somebody that needed it. Chargers are just chargers. That is a racket, yeah. Left-handed Joe says, that's a racket from Apple and not the asshole. Yeah, no, I get you. Aunt Jo says, OP is trying to be a problem solver by taking initiative. Sister is being as contrary as possible. I agree, yeah, and I think that the poster is really trying to compromise. Like, they are putting all of the effort in to say, hey, can we find a solution to this? I really like what they're doing, but the sister is just being a jerk. Seriously, just being a jerk. Jessica says, exactly, Aunt Jo, the way to solve the problem is to create an arrangement where everyone has what they want, which ends the crisis because there are no longer grounds for unhappiness. But the whole point of a compromise is that everybody isn't as pleased as they would be if they got everything they want. Like, we can't just go, like, a perfect compromise, everyone should be satisfied, but not happy. Because if the sister was completely happy, she would have all the chargers in the freaking world. She would have a monopoly on chargers on this planet. So, as a compromise, we've got to just be satisfied, not just get your own way. I feel like, and I may be completely wrong, but I feel like the little sister, and we get this problem in families sometimes, the youngest person in the family gets absolutely spoiled, youngest child syndrome kind of thing, that she gets her way a lot. And the problem is that the more she gets her way, the more she expects to get her way. And that becomes a problem. Because out there in the real world, no one's going to care what you want. Your boss isn't going to go, oh, well, because you want chargers to be available at 24/7, I obviously have to provide them. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's not going to happen. Like, reality will sink in at some point. Ryan says, the corollary to this is hide your gold from your enemies and your tools from your friends. Wow, yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Stop the Stupidity says, not sure, but I think the mother kind of sucks too. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, yeah. I mean, I think she just wants the arguments to be over. And look, I can't blame a parent for that. When you have something this dumb that your children are arguing over, at a certain point they may go, look, I just want the argument to end. Like, I just want it done. And I can't say I blame the parent for that. It'd be nice if she stood by and made a decision, but be a dragon, hoard the wealth, and breathe on those that come into your cave. Okay. Hey, Maya, how you doing? Soot Kettle. Hey, Soot. Not getting a charger is like buying a new car with a label saying battery not included. Yeah, kinda, yeah. Or, buying a car where you have to buy separately the fuel port kind of thing. It's like, really? Really? I suppose like they may be going for wireless charging, like that's what they're angling towards, maybe. But they don't provide the wireless charger either. So this song will take. This is probably dial up. Yeah, dial up. This song will take 3 days to download. Yeah, basically, yes, yes. Um, it's practicality, not including the engine by the gas tank on the side. Yeah. Pink ladies, my delicious. No, I'm sorry. Pink ladies are no. I'm sorry. You can get lost with that. No, not honey. It's pink ladies. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're wrong. Okay, I'll do a poll. You hate apples? You hate apple with a passion that some might say could be pathologized? Wow, really? Oh, the company? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, I thought you meant apples, like just apples. I'm like, okay. Apple created a brand identity of being premium to high end, which uses FOMO to blackmail consumers into purchasing them. Yeah, it's very psychologically based. What are we discussing? We are discussing random "Am I the arsehole" posts, as we usually do when I'm not ranting like an idiot, which is very rarely actually, come to think of it. But hey, that's fine. That's fine. How did you vote on the poll? Post is completely right. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I absolutely agree. Apple the company. No, I got you, Deviant. I got you. Apple the company. Yeah, and I hate how they only do. It. A lot of companies do sort of networking between their own devices, right? Like, so Windows will have Xbox compatibility with Windows kind of thing because they're both made by Microsoft. Apple will do the same. But, at a certain point, I think that for a start, it was really Bill Gates who ran Microsoft who realized that, hey, you shouldn't just provide software compatible with only your own hardware, right? Like that is one of the things that he made Microsoft so successful, that he brought out um, MS-DOS for any system at all, right? Like he basically kept MS-DOS. He licensed it to any kind of hardware, and then you got the IBM compatibles, which really revolutionized the whole idea. Even now, you don't need an Apple motherboard to run Windows, right? Like you can just get a Asus motherboard, for instance, with RAM from another company, and you can put it all into one and build a computer out of it with running Windows or Linux. But Apple, you can't do that. You need to have the Apple components. And I dislike them immensely. Look, I could go on for a while about how much I dislike Apple's business model, but I won't. Just Apple deserved to be in hell. Am I the arsehole for not telling my mother-in-law what my sister-in-law said? Well, no. Was it said in confidence? I don't. This so depends on what it is, right? Like this so depends on what it is. So 30 female, have a sister-in-law, Riley, 14 female. Jesus, half your age? Okay. Sister-in-law, I suppose that makes sense, right? Like that does make sense. It's a younger sister. Yeah, okay, I gotcha. I've been in her life since the day she was born, and we've been very close. Oh, that's sweet. Riley is going through a bit of a difficult stage right now. Lots of fighting with her parents and not always making the best choices. Okay, so she's going through a rebellious streak. Look, everybody kind of goes through a rebellious streak coming out of teenage years. It's for the best. You have to cut that umbilical at some point, and earlier is probably better. So at about teenage years, we start to question what our parents say. We start to argue with them. It's normal. It's completely normal. We've got to be able to sort of we've got to sort of break away from our parents at some point, and I think that's part of the process. So I took Riley out for some girl time. Oh, that's sweet. We had some sweets and I got her to tell me about what she is feeling. Oh, that is nice. It's very, very difficult to um, I remember at 14 being completely isolated. I didn't talk to anybody about how I felt, like it was really was just a, absolutely isolated time in my life. So that's really nice of her. Like she's being a big sister. That's awesome. That's awesome. This is nothing new. She often opens up to me about things that she doesn't tell others. I didn't tell her what to do. I just gave her somebody to talk to about everything she's feeling. There was nothing concerning or alarming in what Riley told me, so I did not repeat her words to my mother-in-law, which is fair. She's told you this in confidence. Look, you can't break, unless there's something concerning in there where you're worried about her well-being, you can't break confidence because she won't open up to you again. Like if you just tell her mother in what she told you, that's the end of her opening up, and she probably won't open up. That's a betrayal of trust. What my mother-in-law is mad about this. She says she says that she, I believe, has a right to know what's going on in her daughter's life. No, you don't. No. No. Like, okay, so here's the thing. You never have a right to people's thoughts or feelings. Okay, I'm just going to reiterate that. You don't have a right to people's thoughts and feelings. You may have a right to, say, moderate your child's behavior, right? But you don't have a right to what they're thinking or what they're feeling. And I know because my mother did this to me because she was trained as a psychologist. So she would always want to know what I'm feeling, always want to know what I was thinking, always want to know what was going on inside me, and I didn't want to share it with her, right? Like, I didn't want to. And she sort of tried to get it out of me however she could, and that made it worse. Like, there was no way I was going to tell her what I was thinking or feeling just to be psychoanalyzed about it. I felt really down. Suddenly she's psychoanalyzing me on, why this, why that, what Lord, and it just was a pain in the ass. It led to so many questions. She didn't just say, hey, I acknowledge your feelings and move on. It was always, how do we address these feelings or thoughts? So, it's kind of like you don't have a right to people's feelings. You don't even have a right to what they think about you. Like, you might go, oh, you've got to tell me what you think about me. No, they don't have to tell you. It's nice if they do, but they don't have to. You don't have a right to people's internal thoughts and dialogue. You don't have a right to that, ever. You can ask. That's perfectly, perfectly acceptable. You can ask. It's nice if they share it, but you don't have a right to it. I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't matter if your mother, your father, your brother, your wife, you don't have a right to that. Anything that they want to keep internally is entirely theirs. She says she has a right to know what is going on in her daughter's life and that I need to tell her. Look, if there is behavior that is problematic, yeah, you would expect her to tell you, but if you don't, you've got to give your children some form of privacy of their own life. You have to. I'm really sorry, but you have to. I dislike, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a parent, but I dislike this whole thing of, oh, I've got to know exactly what my children are doing at all times. If kids want to do something wrong, they're going to find out a way. Like, they're gonna go behind your back. I explained to her that she didn't say anything alarming or concerning. It was just teenage girl stuff, and I'm not going to break Riley's trust by repeating it. Mother-in-law says I'm the adult and I shouldn't be playing the secret game with her daughter. Okay, this is just weird, yo. This is just weird. What if it's just, feeling lonely or feeling like, hey, having a crush on somebody, is she really going to? No, I'm with the poster. Am I the arsehole for not telling what my sister-in-law said? No. No, if she tells you it in confidence, she tells you it in confidence. Like, if you talk to somebody, like, you have to, and they say, hey, I'm going to share this with you, um, you really should be checking to say, hey, do you mind if I tell your mother or tell other people about this? Is this a secret? Do you need to keep this in confidence? Wow. Wow. I don't know. I don't know, gang. This is, as I said, I don't have children, but I feel like if she tells the mother how, like, if she spies on the daughter for the mother, I mean, maybe that's a bit harsh. If she um, shares her feelings and her thoughts without consent, I feel like the sister-in-law is never going to tell anything. If my mother, like, if I was a kid, if I was a 14-year-old kid, and I was at one point, so I do have experience with that. If I was a 14-year-old kid and I tell my brother-in-law how I'm feeling and my thoughts, and then they go around and tell my father, I would say, screw you, and I'm not telling you anything ever again, right? Right, that's what you would say. Right, not telling mother-in-law about sister-in-law conversation. Oh, poll up, poll up, poll up. Let's see what the Redditors have to say. Probably screw your mother-in-law, I would imagine. But hey, we'll find out. Not the arsehole. Riley needs to tell someone her feelings, and if you go to the mother-in-law, you break that trust she has in you. Unless there's danger or something extremely concerning happening in Riley's life, mother-in-law doesn't need to know. Right, absolutely, absolutely. And it's good that she's talking to somebody, right? If she feels like she can't talk to her parents, I don't know, maybe because they're incredibly overbearing and wanting to know exactly what she thinks and what she feels, even though she doesn't really feel comfortable telling people. It's good that she's talking to somebody. It always depresses me, always makes me upset when, like, parents want to know what their children talk about in therapy. And I don't know the rules regarding that, but I think that the therapist should not tell the parents. I think that should be confidential between the therapist and the person they're talking to. I think they have a duty of care not to speak about that stuff. And if they don't, they should. Not the arsehole, not your info to give. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I felt that way in a lot of situations, even in this community, that people have told me things and I've gone, well, I won't share them. It's not mine to share. I don't, it's not my business to, share information, to give this information to anybody else. This is between us. I try to, as much as possible, keep that in mind, that when someone comes to me and says, hey, this has been happening, I'm like, okay, this is, confidential, because I'm not, no. I had same relationship with stepdaughter. We clicked like a house on fire. I always told her I'll never tell Papa, but if it's serious enough, we'll figure out a way to tell him, and I'll be right there to support you if you need it. Oh, that's very nice. My boyfriend's back. Isn't that like anyway? That's a good man. Good man. Yeah, we were lucky though. He never pried, trusted my judgment, and let girls be girls. Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Oh, it's a woman. Okay, I'm sorry. Stepdaughter. Yeah. If it's serious enough, yeah, and that's the thing. Is it serious enough? Not the asshole. Riley is lucky to have you. You can tell mother-in-law there's anything dangerous, you will speak up. And if likewise, if Riley ever says anything truly concerning, you need to tell her you have to get her some help. But short of that, you're a safe space for a teenager, and that's a precious thing. Yeah, and it's too easy for people to go, well, a teenager's just a kid. Doesn't matter if I betray their trust. They're just a kid. No, they're really developing adults, and a teenager going through all of, they will never forgive you. Like, they will never forgive you for that kind of betrayal. And I've often talked about this. Your integrity is so easily lost. It's so easily thrown away, and it's a shame. It's a shame people do. Not the arsehole, but for future reference, next time you speak with Riley, let her know you'll have her back unless she gives you a reason to feel concerned that she might be a danger to herself, others, or someone else is putting her in danger. Think of it like a mandatory reporting script. And if you were to share, you talk her through who, with, and what that might look like. Okay, yeah, kind of makes sense. You talk her through who, with, and what that might look like. Yes. I've done the reverse with my 13-year-old and one of my close girlfriends. They get along really well. As a single mum, I wanted to have other trusted adults. I've said that what they share is their business unless the grown-up is worried. Then we do work together. We don't keep secrets. We do hold stuff. That's our family, blood and choice family rule. Yeah. I think that sort of, but, when you're talking about sort of secrets, your thoughts and feelings are not, secrets as in secrets. They're not like, well, somebody cheated on another person and you're keeping to yourself. No, it's your thoughts and your feelings. Some of which, especially when you're a teenager, they don't make much sense, and you want to just talk through them. Not the arsehole, it's important. Yes, safe space. Not the arsehole. It's great that Riley feels so comfortable with you. It's really weird, actually. Like, the right-wing pundits and macho boys and these real idiots, they kind of, oh, you want a safe space kind of thing. But they fall back on their own safe spaces where they're applauded by all of their followers and when they're congratulated for how amazing they are. I mean, they need the safe spaces more than anybody else. It's kind of wild that they will disparage other people's safe spaces and then proceed to construct a community around them that supports them in whatever nonsense that they're peddling. It's so weird to me. Not the arsehole. And if they can't get a safe space, they'll send their followers into other people's to try and make it that for them. It's absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Yeah. So this one, I'm going to come down on a not the arsehole. Absolutely not the arsehole. What have you guys got to say? Gates saved Apple. Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. Yes. Yep. At least the mum cares, but she shouldn't be. And that is a good point. Stop stupidity. At least the mum cares enough to be asking. Absolutely, yes. But there's a fine line between caring a lot and being intrusive into your children's lives. Like there is a fine line between that. At a certain point, you have to just go, well, I raised them, taught them stuff, and they've got to figure out the rest on their own. We've all had to do that. We've all had to go through and figure out the rest on our own. It happens. Adults famously never keep secrets from other. Yeah, Jess, totally understand it. Yeah. No, absolutely her mother will be keeping some sort of private stuff to herself, right? Like she won't, I mean, she's probably thought at times, man, my life would be easier if I didn't have children, right? Like every parent's thought that at some point. It's not something that you share with your kids, like that just isn't. As you get older, you realize, oh, I was a vast inconvenience to my parents. Worth it, but still a vast inconvenience because that's what children are. But it's not something that you automatically go, well, I've got to share every thought and feeling I've ever had with my children. No, absolutely not. Jessica says, children are not the property of their parents. They're allowed to have their own lives, their own secrets. Absolutely. Yeah, and this is something biblical that really annoys me when they sort of treat like, oh, well, my children are my property. No, but that's the way the Bible kind of frames it with, you have your children or, your daughter and you can sell your daughter to the highest, to somebody else kind of thing. Like, they really treat children and women as goods and property that you can pass around and sell, and you're in charge of. And I really hate that dynamic, rather than being a free person that you are responsible for raising, and responsible for a family environment of raising that person. It's that child belongs to you, so you can just dictate whatever for. No, that's not how it ought to work. And that certainly doesn't create a healthy human being. Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely agree. Left-handed Jai said, spoken in confidence, kept in confidence. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And look, we all make mistakes. We all, hear stuff. Maybe we might blurt it out upon occasion, accidentally. People have done that. I've probably done that in the past, but I do try to keep it confident. Like, I really do try. And that's important. You're just trying. Look, you can't be perfect, but, there's ways to address that. Say, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I do remember once I sort of said, I didn't know that maybe a party was supposed to be a surprise stream for Ember, and I kind of blurted it out, and that was the first Ember heard about it. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't told it was in confident, but maybe it was. I don't know. It's all a bit confusing. I get you. But yes, if someone says, hey, this is in confidence, I immediately try to forget that about ever telling anybody about it. Like, Deviant Outcast, seems to me that mother-in-law shows an unhealthy need for control, and or is under the impression that her daughter isn't her own individual, but an extension of mother-in-law, owned by, belongs to mother-in-law. Correct. And that's what I hate about the sort of biblical idea of a family, where there is this pecking order of ownership of the man is the head of the household and he owns the other. It's absolutely crap. Yes, most Christians have moved beyond it. I'm not accusing all Christians of that, but some haven't, and it's terrible. If Riley wanted mum to know, she'd be talking to the mum, post not the arsehole. Maybe mum the arsehole. Well, it's hard. I totally get that, her behavior isn't the greatest, but at the same time, like, she might be really worried. Like, I can't imagine what a parent must feel with, these news of these kids, they get drawn into the right wing, pipeline kind of thing. And, they mess up their lives really doing, drugs and stuff, and get involved with crime. It must be really worrying for a parent. But you've got to teach them the consequences and then allow them to choose for themselves. The consequences are theirs. But yeah, no, I can imagine why. Like, this right-wing pipeline that kids are getting into, ending up like that guy that I talked to the other week, it's like nothing wrong with slavery kind of thing. He really was emblematic of the right-wing pipeline you can get into that leads to, hey, slavery not so bad, right? Like, that's where the kid ended up. It's insane, but I can understand why parents are very, very worried about that kind of stuff. I saw a fantastic English show. I mean, it was a fictional show, but look, it's a hard watch. I think it was called Adolescence, sort of centered around a boy getting drawn into that right-wing pipeline. It was a hard watch, but it really was stunningly, it didn't blame anybody. It wasn't really blaming people. It was just a totally fucked up situation. Like, it was a hard watch. I recommend it, but only if you feel strong and in a good place, because it was a hard watch, especially for a man. Especially for men, it was a hard watch. And it wasn't really pointing fingers. It wasn't really blaming people. It was just saying, this is the situation that we have to deal with. And I appreciated it. It's very easy to just blame a kid getting swept up in this sort of, this churn of hey, don't you want to be worth something? Join the, the right wing, people, and you can be one of the special people kind of thing. I can't really blame the kid. Can't really blame the outcome. Can't blame the parents. Can't blame anybody. It's just, it is what it is. It's horrible. And I think that the way that they did it was absolutely fantastic. Can't say enough about that show. Like I said, recommend. Don't do it when you're feeling down, because it is a hard watch. Hard watch. If the person is in danger, yes, it's probably better to say something. Other than that, then no. Yes, correct. And danger, I think trusting adults to know when there is danger, sure. Soot says mother-in-law is probably jealous and might feel excluded, but still not the arsehole. Yes, Soot, there might be many reasons. Absolutely, that absolutely might be one of it. Jealous of somebody's relationship with their daughter when they can't connect themselves. That might be it. It might be that they're worried about their daughter, getting involved with, a bad crowd, might be having sex really early, or might be, taking drugs. And there's so many fear points for parents that it might be one of those things as well. Might absolutely be that. Yeah. Deviant says, my general stance is if someone tells me something, even if they don't say it right out, this is a secret, my mentality is they said it to me, not to XYZ who's not in the room. Yeah, and I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that. Yes. I generally don't, talk about conversations that I've had with other people that have just been between us, or about sensitive things. Really, I just look at it as if I said that, would I want them passing along that information? And that's how I try to construe it. Like if I told somebody about, oh, I really can't stand this person kind of thing, if the roles were reversed, would I want them to go out and say that? And usually the answer is no, right? Like, so that's the way that I look at it. Trust is so damn important. Well, yeah. And it's interesting because working in for so long in sort of a complaint space where you've got to get people to trust you, right? How do you get somebody to trust you when like they've got nothing but disappointment from your company and everybody that's come before you? How do you do that? How do you get them to know that you have integrity and that you will do what you say you will, right? And one of the things that I kind of learned is that you can feign having integrity. You can sort of make people trust you. You can use tone, inflection. You can sort of, build up this kind of really fake persona kind of thing. Or look, that's really hard, and it's hard to maintain, and it's hard not to get jaded by that kind of stuff. Or you can just have integrity, right? Like, because if you have integrity, you will say with confidence, look, I will call you back when I say I will. Or at least I probably wouldn't make that promise. I will definitely try to call you back as soon as this time. Like you can have integrity, but or appear to have integrity by just having it, right? Like that's the easiest way to get people to believe you, is to believe in yourself. And the easiest way to believe in yourself is act in accordance with what you are saying. Like be as honest, as responsible as possible for what you say. Have as much integrity as you can, and you will believe it because you are doing it. And that's the easiest way I've found, which is, maybe it's obvious. Maybe it's obvious to everyone concerned, but that's the way I've found to do it. Steven says control in an abusive relationship will always be portrayed and look as care. Yes, absolutely. So if someone's very controlling, if someone's very jealous, they will go, oh, you know what the stupidest thing I've ever heard is? The stupidest thing I've ever heard is, it's not you I don't trust. I don't trust all of the other guys out there. Right? I've never said that, but I've heard somebody sort of say it, or heard about it being said. And that's one of the stupidest things I have ever heard in my entire life, right? When someone's incredibly jealous, or a guy's incredibly jealous, and they're like, oh, it's not you I don't trust, it's all the other guys. It's like, but what? It's not like she's going to go out there and, unless they force themselves on her, she's got to be involved in some way, right? Like, it's the stupidest thing. It makes no sense. But yeah, it's kind of, oh, I care about you, so I've got to protect you from all the other nasty men. No, that you're not protecting her from other men. You're worried about yourself because you're jealous. That is what you are. You are jealous that she's going to go off with somebody else, and that is the situation. And you're trying to frame it as you're the good guy. And yeah, that's being portrayed as care. Yeah, absolutely. But it never is. And I think you've got to be honest with yourself about that. But it's okay to feel jealous. It is okay. But you've got to acknowledge it to yourself, and then you've got to really drill down and go, do I trust this person? If you don't trust them, why not? Like, if you don't trust your partner, why don't you trust them? And then look at, maybe they're being flirty. Maybe they're doing this. Maybe they're doing that. Is that a boundary for you? You've got to have a really honest conversation with yourself about why you feel this way. Why, that makes you act a certain way. And is that, if there is nothing that she is doing objectively that makes you or triggers your jealousy, then you've got to challenge that feeling and challenge those thoughts. Get some help with it. Look, just like any other feeling, jealousy is something that comes up. You can talk to a therapist. They can, you can work on stuff. You can get some tools in your toolkit where it doesn't affect you as much. And, it is a thing that happens. There are ways to address it, but we've got to be honest with ourselves without shaming people for feeling jealous. A lot of people feel jealous because they endured a lot of trauma. They might have been cheated on. They might have been betrayed in some way. They might have, that feeling may have been triggered deliberately by somebody. We don't know. So instead of shaming them, go, hey, you're feeling jealousy. There are ways. We've got to discuss it. We've got to talk about it. We've got to, in some way, look at that thought, those thoughts and feelings. Why are they coming up? And address it. Address the root cause of the problem, which isn't the other person, right? It's never, well, if they just stop doing this, I'll stop. No, it's always coming from within. And maybe you need some boundaries. Sure. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just need to address why you're feeling that way. Yeah, very good. And yeah, absolutely, Archer. They blame society in general for creating the environment that caused this mindset. Yeah. A lot of my feelings about the society we've set up, is it really what we're after? I don't know. It's what some people are after. I don't know. I don't think it's what we're after, though. I think that we've created a society which is incredibly harmful to us, and I worry about it a lot. I also worry that perhaps, no other society is going to work. We've got to have it like this in order to keep that structure up. I worry about that, but there's always ways we can make it better. If you don't trust your partner, it might be because you are the cheater. Yeah, absolutely. And that's projection. It's basically saying, hey, I do this, why wouldn't they? Yeah, you're projecting your own flaws onto somebody else, and I've seen that as well. But I've also seen, a guy with a girl who's completely and utterly, faithful and loyal and everything, and he's just jealous as hell when any other guy even looks in her direction. I've seen that as well. And I probably have suffered from jealousy in my life. And that's okay. That's okay. It's something that you can actually address. It's okay. But admitting there's a problem is the first step. Absolutely. But yeah, absolutely as well. It might be that the guy isn't particularly loyal, and so he thinks that nobody else is as well, which is fair. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I will do one more, just because. Just because. I will do. Well, how did the poll go? 100%. Dang. We never agree on anything. We've agreed. We've come to a consensus. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, insecurity, yes. Insecurity, yes. Seeing your partner as your property, not necessarily, Jeb. I get that sometimes it can seem, that can be a thing, but I think absolutely the insecurity part is right. That you don't feel that you are worth enough, so why wouldn't she or he go with somebody else because you're not worth it? I don't think that's necessarily as seeing the partner as your property, but that can be a thing. Yeah, absolutely. You brought a projector? Wow. All right. Nice. I I don't have a projector. I'm kind of jealous. Am I the asshole for asking my dad to not be in a relationship? Well, kind of a little, I think. Yeah. Uh I mean, I guess you can ask, right? I guess you can't demand, but you can ask. I don't. Okay. All right. Um I'm 17, female, and a senior in high school. My parents have been separated since I was little, first or second grade. I don't know. Okay. My dad's been in a ton of relationships, at least 3 since they separated, and the last one was an engagement where we all lived together for like 5 years. Okay, that's rough. You're 17? Dang. Dang. Okay. Um, my parents separated when I was like 15, I think, 15, 16. So, like, my parents divorced just when I was going through teenage years, which was rough, I kind of hear you. And 5 years. He and I didn't really talk about his relationships. The one time he did was him telling me how much he missed his first ex-girlfriend after they broke up. Okay, yeah. She was the woman he left us and moved away for, and I was in third grade. I think it was just kind of weirded out, and I didn't know what to say. First or second grade. She was in third grade. Okay, so she basically a year with this woman and then broke up. He hasn't really talked to me about any of them since. Look, okay, so I don't know exactly why my parents broke up. Um, I do remember it was Boxing Day that they broke up, that they told us anyway, which was kind of weird time to tell us because then we had to go over to my uncle's house, and I remember staying home because I was upset. But um, um, they kind of said, "Oh, it's not about." It's just we've grown apart. Nobody cheated. I don't know if that's true or not. I can imagine that's something they may have told us. I don't know. I do know that my dad became pretty much I won't say a womanizer, just, he liked to go out. He had girlfriends, much the same as this, actually. This is like, it's resonating a lot with me because that's what my dad did as well. He like got divorced, dated a few people kind of thing, had a energetic social life, I'll put it that way. I think at 16, 17, I kind of just was like, okay, whatever. That's fine. I don't know what to say. Hmm. Anyway, mind you, my mother had a boyfriend as well, so Anyway, now I'm a senior in his high school. In his high school. His high school? What does he do? His high school. What is he, the principal or something? What? I'm a senior in in high school. I don't know where I got that from. I think my brain's breaking down. And he broke up with his fiance, so now it's just me and him living together when I'm not at my mum's. And he told me he's seeing someone new. I know it was really immature of me, but I just kind of freaked out at him. Uh You know, I don't know. I get you. He's seeing something new. Just come out of a 5-year relationship. I Were you attached to the last person? I can imagine that's upsetting for you. I wasn't crying at first, but I was really upset and asked him if he could just wait until I leave for college to start dating someone new. It's less than a year and really only like 6 months since my graduation at the end of May. I kept asking if we could just have some time with just us instead of someone else, but he got really mad at me, saying it wasn't fair of me to ask him that. Don't I want him to be happy? It's not all about me, stuff like that. Okay. I kept on just have some time with us instead of someone else. I didn't say this to him, but really in my head, I was thinking that I don't care about him being happy right now because it feels like it's always about him and his happiness, which I know is a really unkind thing to think, but if I'm just being honest, it's how I feel. Wow, it's some honesty there. Yeah, I can imagine why as well. I mean, your dad's sort of going off and ignoring you to hook up with random girlfriends kind of thing. Ah, but I didn't say that to him. I just kept asking for the last 6 months to just be us. Eventually, he just stopped answering me and went to bed, so I did too and didn't really talk to me this weekend. It happened on Thursday night. I know I'm being selfish because I am asking him to make it about me and not be happy with this new woman. I don't know her name. This is really heartbreaking. I can understand why she feels that way. Um, I guess she can ask, is he being an asshole for doing that? Yeah, kind of, I guess. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's very easy to say, hey, like he's not going to be with this new woman for a long time. Maybe he will be. I don't know. But I'm only going to be here for more months and then I'm leaving for college. I don't know where I'm going yet, but I haven't applied to any schools in our city, so I'm definitely going to be living wherever I go. I'll come home for the holidays and stuff, but it'll still be splitting up that time with my mum and dad, so it feels like this next 6 months are kind of it. I know I'm almost 18 and should be more mature, but when he told me, I just suddenly felt like a little kid again, which is probably why I started crying at the end, which was really embarrassing. Oh, sweetie, you shouldn't be embarrassed. No. Wow. Okay, that's really really heartbreaking. That's really heartbreaking. You shouldn't be embarrassed. I don't know how to explain it. I can't really talk to my friends about it, and it feels embarrassing. And whenever I talk to my mum about things like this, I feel bad because she never wants to say anything bad about him to me, even though I know she really, really doesn't like him. But she's amazing at putting on a polite face. Yeah, you don't want to trash talk your kid's dad in front of her. Like I totally get it. I totally get it. So I'm asking strangers, am I the arsehole here? No, no, you're not. I don't think anyone's an arsehole. I think it's just a horrible situation. I really do. I don't think he is. I really don't think he is. I don't think you are. I don't think anybody is. It's just a shit situation, you know? No, I don't think I mean, she's got a right to ask. I think she's perfectly fine asking. Can you please not hook up with somebody or get a new girlfriend? I'd like to spend time with you. I think that that's totally fine. But I think that if you don't accept him saying no, that may be a problem. But are you the asshole? No, I think it's just a kid who wants to spend time with her dad and feels like she's going to lose him. That's heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. Look, out of any situation between your partner and your child, your child should probably win. But um, yeah, I think maybe she needs to talk, like when she gets to school, see the school counseling kind of thing. They deal with shit like this. Um, was the poster right for asking her dad to not be with girlfriend? But I kind of see it through the girlfriend's eyes as well. She's met this guy, thinks he's great, falling in love, having a great time, and his daughter doesn't want you to see her. Um, as the girlfriend, I'd be like, you haven't even met me. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard not to take that personally. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. What do the Redditors say? My dad's been in a ton of relationships, at least 3 since they separated, and the last one was an engagement, and we lived together for 5 years. We have different definitions of the word ton. 3 and 10 years is not a lot, especially considering one was a long-term one. That is right, yes. That is right, but you haven't actually said whether they're an asshole or not. I don't think so. Can you please open this up, or are you just gonna be a dick? You're gonna be a dick. Okay, fine. Fine. I didn't want to see you anyway. Yeah, no, that's not a ton of relationships. I'm sure my dad had more relationships than that when he got divorced. I really am sure of that. Um, yeah, yeah. Talladega Night. I would say that made my dad emotionally unavailable, but my dad was born emotionally unavailable. So, and I guess that was my issue with my father, is that he was emotionally unavailable, wouldn't really talk in any way about feelings or what you were thinking or anything going on with life. So, that wasn't it wouldn't have mattered if my father did have relationships or was not in relationships. He still would have been emotionally unavailable. So, there's that. Talladega Night. Him being in a relationship isn't the problem. Him prioritizing relationships over you is the problem. If you confront your father, be sure to address what the real problem is. Is he prioritizing relationships over her? Like, it's very hard to tell. It's someone new. I don't know if he's prioritizing his relationship over her. I mean, she's still living at his place, and I don't know what kind of thing. Not the arsehole. Just based on the little amount of information in your post, sounds like you've never felt a priority to your father. And yeah, if that's the case, then definitely needs to be addressed. I totally agree. And so even though you might be separated in first or second grade, that can still be traumatic. There's probably some trauma there about your parents separating. All the time, parents separating is always traumatic. It always is. Um, you never think it's going to happen to your parents. That's the thing. It's always traumatic. Just to be clear as well, even though it might be traumatic your parents separating, it may be more traumatic for them to keep together. Okay, I'm not saying that them separating is always wrong. It's just it always is traumatic. There can be trauma associated, some sort of hurt based upon that. Starting with the woman that he left you and your mother for. Look, yeah, I mean that's a bit of a dick move, sure, but you know yeah, that's a dick move. Yeah. As a complete stranger with very little information to go off, I would tell you that your father is never going to be the loving, devoted father that you always wanted. I mean, come on, like seriously, stop. Like seriously, Reddit. You know, he's not a loving, devoted father because he cheated on your mother. Come on now, you have to accept him for who he is. Look, he's still visiting. He's still doing visitation, or she's still coming over to his place. What do you expect of him? Is he giving her enough time? I don't know. I'm not her, right? And that is an issue if that is happening. But just because somebody is divorced and left for somebody else doesn't mean that they're not a loving, devoted father to their child. I really want to push back on that. I really do. Parents have been separated since when he was little. Separated. I'm not sure they did left. It doesn't say that they left my mum for another woman. It just said they separated. Been separated since I was little, first or second grade. I don't know. Oh, she was the woman he left us and moved away for. Okay, gotcha. And I was in third grade. Well, I mean, a year later. I'm not 100% sure. Like, because don't forget, that was a year later. First or second grade, they separated and then left us and moved away for. I'm not sure they meant, maybe divorced us. I don't think they've got the wrong end, the right end of the stick there. I think that, he didn't just sort of cheat with somebody and move away with them, kind of thing. I think that they sort of separated and then it happened. So, well, I mean, it could have happened either way. I don't know for sure. I'm just sort of saying, hey, maybe don't just assume that. I would strongly recommend therapy. Yeah, absolutely. I think that she's got some trauma regarding her dad sort of, moving on to people other than her mother. I think there's definitely some trauma around there. To work through your childhood experiences and accept your past for what it was. It's worrying to me that you immediately call yourself selfish for asking your father for more time before he starts dating again. Well, this is the thing. She didn't ask for more time. She asked, like, for him not to get another girlfriend, which is a different story. Like, if he was putting in the time, I think that, it would be selfish. You made a request and his answer is no. You may have been raised to put your father's need towards your own. Ask them what you want without feeling guilty. Yeah, but you can't force them to. That's the thing. In the minority here. In the minority? In the minority. I don't think you're in the minority, but not the asshole. Your dad left you and your mum for another woman when you were a little kid, and it sounds as you can't face being single. Having people live with you, become part of your life, and then just disappear must be very disruptive. Right. So you get into that pattern of what's it called? Where you basically expect people to vanish out of your life, kind of thing. I can't remember the name of it. It's I've had a mental blank. I've had an absolute mental blank. I'll think of it in a bit. Psychology, where this is gonna drive me crazy. To where people abandonment, right? So abandonment is a fear. Yeah, okay, here it is. Abandonment is a fear often from childhood that important people will leave, causing instability. Yeah, abandonment issues. Thanks, Jedi. Yeah. No, abandonment. It's basically when, you have, say, a parent that leaves you and your family, just escapes, kind of thing, and starts a new family. You get this fear that it's always going to happen, called abandonment, and that's sort of, you kind of expect it out of people, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you expect your boyfriend to leave. You start acting in sort of a way towards him that blames him for leaving already, and then he leaves because he's being treated poorly, and you go, see, I was right, and that reconfirms the vicious cycle. Abandonment's horrible. Yeah, no, I get you. Yep. Could you just move in with your mum? Yeah, but you want a relationship with your dad and your mum. I mean, could you move in with your mum? Yeah. Not the arsehole. This isn't about the next 6 months. This is about him never prioritizing you. Well, yeah, and that might be the case. It may be the case, yes. You want more time with your father, yes. You became emotional because you finally revealed just a little of how hurt you've been since he broke up your family 14 years ago. That may be true, and that's what we're talking about, trauma. Like, you're really hurt, but you're not not sort of showing it. And that's a problem because we've got to be able to say how things have affected us. And his response was to criticize you. Yeah, not great. His reaction doesn't mean you were wrong. It just means he can't stand any more pointing out his selfishness. As a divorced mum of 3, I managed to stay out of the dating game until my youngest was 19. Well, maybe that was good. Maybe that wasn't good. Maybe your children could have benefited from a father figure or another mother figure or whoever for till they grew up. Now I have a wonderful second marriage. Yeah, I just don't see, I get why you would do that. It may not be the best. It may be the best. It may not be. I think that's all situational. I think that's really situational. Your dad is completely self-absorbed. Okay, well, you don't know that. I would never put my kids through living with a series of partners. Well, in fairness, he was engaged to the person, so it obviously was a long-term relationship. It was 5 years. I'm struggling to find, like, I just can't blame him for having a relationship for 5 years that he's engaged to a woman, and obviously wants to marry her, and maybe it wasn't his fault that it fell apart. Maybe she cheated on him. Maybe a lot of different things happened. I'm really sorry, but I can't blame him for introducing his 5-year committed partner who he's engaged to his children. I just can't blame him for that. Or make my little kid confident when my affair partner dumped me. Make my little kid my confidant when my affair partner dumped. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure it was an affair partner, but never mind. Maybe it was. Maybe it was, but I'm sorry you have such a sucky dad. Look, I get it's difficult. Maybe this is just me, but when I was that age, do you want your parents to be happy? Yeah. Yeah. And your parents, they're still human and they still want to be loved by, in a romantic way. Like, they're still human. I'm really sorry, but I can't just go, hey, he wanted to move on and build a life with a new person. How horrible of him. I just can't bring myself to say that. I'm sorry. You are definitely not the arsehole. My wife wanted a divorce when our daughter was 2. I made the choice not to date to be able to spend as much time with my daughter as possible. Your dad has the rest of his life to date. This time with you is only happening once before the next chapter in his life. He really should take this chance to connect with you. 6 months is going to blow by fast. He kind of sounds like my ex. Always have to have someone around or be pursuing someone. Maybe. I think that there's been times in my life where I've been okay by myself, but if I met somebody, I wouldn't have said no. I don't know. So I took the summer off to spend as much time as possible with my daughter before her freshman year in high school. Some things only happen once. Good luck. Feel free to DM if you want. It feels like it's always about him and his happiness. Speaks volumes. Yeah, that's a good point. About your perception of how your dad has prioritized you in his life and with his other relationships. By asking him to hold off for 6 months so you can have some time with him, you're asking for a connection and more of a relationship with him. That desire for connection is somewhat unusual for teenager-parent relationships. Yeah, correct. It is. Yeah. As I said, you should be getting rebellious about this time. Not listening to your dad, saying, whatever, Dad, I'm gonna do my thing. That's usual for people looking to leave the nest. However, it's probably because it is lacking and been a long time. You weren't asking for forever, which would have been really selfish. You were asking your dad for the gift of time before you go off on your own. Yeah, but at the same time, I think that I think that people fall into relationships all the time. It happens. It happens out of the blue. And if he thinks that this is the person for him, I can't begrudge them that. I just can't. Like, don't get me wrong, if he's prioritizing her over his daughter, like, you know what? It would be fine if he said to her, hey, my daughter's in a really bad place. I've got to spend a lot of time with her. So, hey, could we just keep it casual? And just occasional. I don't mean to be mean or anything. Just my daughter, until she moves away for 6 months, she really needs me right now. Look, I swear to God, that will buy you points with the person that you're trying to romance. If you say, hey, my daughter's going through a lot at the moment, have to be there for her. I'm going to have to, keep it sort of, see you only occasionally because she needs that stability and support right now. I would expect the person that he's romancing to understand that, and it will probably, that's a good thing for a guy to do. Say, hey, I like you, you're important to me, but there are other priorities in my life, one of which is my daughter. It starts with being honest, right? You're being honest. And if she says, hey, that's not okay, you go, well, I'm really sorry, but that's what I have to do right now. It may not be the best time for us then. Which sucks, that sucks, but yeah. So I totally get where everybody's coming from in this, but I guess the dad is a bit of an arsehole for not going to the person and saying, hey, but I think also expecting someone to have no relationship whatsoever is a bit of an ask, right? I like what the previous post said, where they're saying, hey, the problem isn't that he's got a girlfriend. The problem is that you don't feel like he's making you a priority. I like that because that really does narrow down what the problem is. Absolutely narrows down that it isn't that he's got a girlfriend. It's that he's prioritizing that girlfriend over her. And that can be fixed, that can be fixed. Let's see. Most parents would give their eye teeth for a kid that want to spend time with them like this. Yeah, the dad is a fool for not appreciating that. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like there's sort of a cats in the cradle thing happening here, If you don't know the reference, I know will, but if you don't know the reference, Cats in the Cradle was a song by Cat Stevens about it's about a kid that always wants to spend time with dad. He's got work to do. He's got things to do. And the dad grows older and gets old, and he wants to spend time with the kid, and the kid basically has work to do. He's got children, he's got other priorities kind of thing. And he's realized he's taught his son to be emotionally unavailable just like him. And that's basically how the song goes. So it's sort of when he gets older and he'll want his daughter to be around, she might not be around. If he didn't make the time for her, she may not make the time for him. And that is sort of what people mean when they say cats in the cradle. It's sort of that when you ignore your children, when you get older and want your kids around, they may ignore you. Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, stop stupidity. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Very, very good comment, aren't you? And also adds the adult girlfriend should be understanding of how the child is reacting. Yeah, absolutely. An emotionally mature adult would just expect this to be the reaction. Yeah, absolutely. Like the girlfriend should be like, oh, I, totally understand that. Yeah, if they are a mature adult. We don't know that's the case because who knows? This is am I the arsehole? Anything could happen. Deviant Outcast says, yeah, this sounds like a really difficult situation. I guess the only thing I can say is she's definitely not the arsehole. Yeah, absolutely. 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 Look, I mean, my life at about that age was tough. It was really tough. As I said, my dad was emotionally unavailable. My mother actually took off with her boyfriend to go to a gold mine in Africa, in Ghana to be specific, because he got a job there, kind of thing. So, it was a awful time. It was an awful time. It was. I felt so alone and stuff. Yeah, and it's a really awful place to be. I totally understand it. It really is. I don't know. Spillcab says, well, he might have had reasons to leave her mother. We don't know. Right. And, we've got to keep in mind this is all one person's perspective. We'll take it just as it's said, but there's usually other perspectives to all of this kind of thing. Abandonment issues. Thank you, Jedi. Thank you. And self-fulfilling prophecy. Yep. So self-fulfilling prophecy, if you don't know what it is, it's basically when your fears about a situation or your worries about a situation cause you to act in such a way that it makes it happen. For instance, a guy might be jealous, starts sort of telling the girl, oh, you're going to leave me, you don't love me anymore, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and basically is an arsehole to her, so she leaves him. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If he wasn't worried about that prophecy, it wouldn't have come true in the first place, because he wouldn't be hassling her about, being a loose woman or whatever. Like, this is the kind of thing that we do. Some of our actions cause the very thing that we're trying to avoid, right? Like, we're trying to avoid these things, and they call that sort of maladaptive coping mechanisms. So coping mechanisms that go astray and cause the very things that we're trying to use them to avoid, right? So someone that's jealous may need constant reassurance that the person is with them or the person loves them or whatever. And that's a coping strategy, but that is maladaptive because it probably will cause problems. Stop Stupidity says, my mum's boyfriend of 25 years died 4 years ago. Oh, that's so sad. I'm sorry, STS. That's sad. She just found a new one. She's happy, and that's all I want for her. She deserves way more having 3 boys that always weren't the best kids. Look, yeah, absolutely. No, I get you. And I can understand that, her happiness is really important to you as well. Look, STS, whose kids are the best kids? No kids are perfect. We all have our, things that we do that are dumb, stupid, poorly thought out, asshole things that kids do. All kids go through that. And it's like a parent, like, nobody's a perfect parent. A good enough is the perfect parent, is just good enough. And I think the same is true with kids. As long as you're good enough, that's fine. Think of it this way. You could have turned out a lot worse considering everything. I think that about myself all the time. I could have turned out a lot worse. It's kind of a miracle I didn't end up in jail, quite frankly, with all the shenanigans that I got up to. But here we are. Life's funny, Life's weird. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, STS. That I hope your mum's okay. Kids always comes first. Yeah, they should. I mean, the only time they don't is when you're on a plane and you need to give yourself oxygen before securing your child. Because if you pass out, you're no good to anybody. And I think that extends to the rest of life. If you destroy yourself trying to take care of your kids, you're not going to be able to help your kids. You've got to take care of yourself in order to take care of your kids. So there is that, aren't you? But yes, I get what you mean. Besides, other people, yeah, I get you. Deviant says, I think we should all take a moment and remember Dad might really be fucking horny. Dad needs to dip the pickle, wet the gherkin, pickle the herring. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, like, there's porn and stuff out there, Deviant. Like, seriously. The angel face afterwards. Please. But yeah, you're right. I mean, humans have needs. They do. But there is porn and there are vibrators. Okay, just doesn't necessarily mean you have to get this. You have to have somebody else involved. Aren't you spot on? Yeah. Awesome song. Mark just called me old. I'm sorry. I'm old. I figure I'm old. I'm very old. I'm almost 50. Is that wild? That's wild. That's absolutely wild. Now I have that entire album in my head. Oh, okay. The Cat Stevens. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I can talk English, I swear. Can you swear in English? Oh, you rapscallion. No worries, mate. No worries. I look, totally. I wanted my mum to be happy as well. The problem was the guy that she was with was a complete dick, and he did not make her happy. It was really tragic. But you know, I spoke my piece, said that I didn't like him. Later on in her life, she said, no, I was completely right. He was taking advantage of her and being a dick. You know, it just, yeah. I don't know what to say. Some people just can't handle being alone, and that's okay. I get you, but you know, it's sometimes good to take stock, be a free agent, do your own thing. I'm married, so I don't, you know, and I'm totally happy with that. But you know, if you're not enough by yourself, you'll never be enough with somebody else, ever. They're not going to solve whatever problems you've got. Nobody solves those problems but you. And that's where therapy is great, because, you know, it's just you working through your own shit. It's good. And I think this girl really needs some. And, you know, not to say there's anything wrong with her. Totally fine. Deviant. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And oh, poll. Yeah, how did that go? Poster is completely right. Yeah, okay, no, that's fine. I don't know. I don't know. I have a lot of sympathy towards the dad as well. I really do. I guess that's, maybe it's a guy perspective, you know. You've got a new girlfriend, and you know, I think that there's ways around that. So maybe, yeah, you could be right. I'm gonna go for no arseholes here, just because I don't think he's being an arsehole either. I think he just, you know, is doing his thing. And I don't think, you know, tons of relationships is not, you know, 3 relationships over 5 years. No, definitely not. Especially with like 5-year relationships. No, I don't think that's a ton. I think that it's a ton when you know, your parents have been married all their lives. It's not a ton for someone going out dating, not even close. So yeah, I can't blame him. I can't blame her though. Definitely not her. Look, I will disagree on the him. I definitely don't disagree that she's fine. She's not the arsehole. Absolutely. Anyway, I do have a member stream tomorrow, so if you are a member, do call in. I will probably be playing something somewhere, somehow. Probably going to do the evil god thing tomorrow. If you know, you know. If you don't know, cool. Maybe get a membership and join. And then you'll know, presumably, as long as you watch it, then you'll know, maybe. But if you don't, that's cool too. I will be having, I think what I will be doing is doing my fundamentalist fails coming up. I think I'll be doing the final fail, which I know I was going to try to do it by the end of the year, but I didn't get in by the end of the year. So it'll probably be a, you know, giving out the best fails of 2025. So if you want to have some fun laughing at the worst of 2025 from my fundamentalist fails episodes, which I think should be a lot of fun. I don't know. I think I want a prize for somebody who has the biggest fail. Like, you know, maybe the Hovind Memorial Award or something like that. You know, I'll think about it. But I really want to do that. And so I'm going to have to go through my entire catalog from this year and find the worst of the worst. So if you want to come to that, that'll be on my Friday or Thursday night Eastern time. I'm so glad all of you came and joined us. Jedi, Deviant, Stupidity, Journey, everybody there. Spillcab, good to see you. Everybody coming in. This was really fun. And the last AIMBOT for the year. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about what I want to do on the channel this year. Look, I do this every year. I'm like, oh, this year we'll have a different direction. I will try. I will try and do a different direction or a different, you know, sort of evolution of the channel. See where we go. So if you want to come along to that and talk about what you want from the channel, always happy to. But apart from that, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let's get going to hitting all the buttons, because you're great and I want to share some stuff. But yeah, take care, everybody. Be kind to you. Oh, hey, Victoria. No, you are Victoria. No, you are Victoria. Thanks, Victoria. Be kind to yourself. sometimes when people do stuff, it's nothing about you. That doesn't mean you're not entitled to your thoughts, your opinions, your feelings, your, stuff like that. But, maybe try to isolate the problem, exactly what the problem is. And no one's entitled to your thoughts. No one's allowed to say, hey, you've got to tell me what you think about this thing. You don't have to share that with anybody. Your thoughts are private. They are yours alone. Whatever you choose to share is what you choose to share. You don't have to tell people what you are thinking or what you are feeling. However, there is benefit to that. Having people understand you and where you're coming from is a benefit, but you don't have to do that. And don't let anybody ever say that you have to share how you feel or what you think, because you don't. However, be kind to others. If you are affecting them, it might be worth it. Okay? So, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, people!
She got up